Welcome to the JD Remedy. Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm excited to bring you a very special guest interview this week. It'll be my second interview on the podcast, but I'll introduce her in a little moment for you guys. Firstly, let's go through some recs of the week. My first rec comes from something I did for my anniversary. My partner and I spent a couple of nights at a hotel just to kind of celebrate and relax and get away. It rained and stormed the whole time we were away, so we didn't get to do much. I am grateful that it rained though, not complaining, because it did put out the fires. Well, it assisted in putting out the fires, obviously, as well as all the amazing support on the ground with the fireys, but it helped put the fires out. So I did not complain, but my self-care rec is take that time for yourself. Even though we weren't doing anything adventurous or, we brought bathers to go to the beach and we had a pool and a resort type thing in our hotel, we couldn't do any of that. It was actually just so nice to have 2 nights in a hotel where you don't have to be anywhere, or you don't have to do anything. I know everybody is obviously different in terms of how they relax and wind down and how they like to spend their time off from work, but for me, having that time to just veg out, lay with the aircon on under the doona in the hotel and just chill. We were watching TV, cuddling, and it was just so nice. It was actually quite romantic as well, having the rain outside, but it was just so nice. And having 2 nights in a hotel was nice because you didn't have to, you could kind of unpack your bags a little bit and not have to worry about quickly packing everything up in the morning and checking out. Having the 2 days was great because I was way more relaxed, not having to worry about rushing and organizing the next day. That's just how my brain works. So having the 2 days was really great just to kind of hang out. We got room service. And luckily in Scarborough where we stayed, our hotel, there's all restaurants and takeaway food and stuff along the beachfront, which is where we stayed. So even though it was raining and we had to run through the rain quite a bit to get lunch and dinner and stuff, we didn't mind because all the restaurants were walking distance from the hotel. So it was so beautiful, and highly recommend just taking some time to yourself, even if it's just at home and you take a couple of days off work or whatever it is. Don't feel guilty for taking that time off and just wind down, spend time with your loved ones and just reset. It was really nice to just not have to worry about anything for a couple of days. Although I did miss my cats very much. 2 days away, but it was very nice, and I'm very grateful to my partner for organizing it. I'm coming to you with a banger of an entertainment rec. If you don't know, now you know. Brooklyn Nine-Nine just released their new season, and I watched the whole thing in one day with my partner, and I tell you, it did not disappoint. Obviously, I didn't expect anything less. Freaking hilarious, and obviously I'm not going to give you guys any spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I highly recommend you jump on that bandwagon ASAP. If you've never seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I just have one question for you. What are you doing with your life? Seriously. Start from season 1 if you haven't seen it, but for all my fellow Brooklyn Nine-Nine lovers, the new season is out, so I highly recommend you jump on it ASAP. Rooney. All right, I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Alexandra, or people call her Alex. Her and I met in the fitness industry and have continued contact. The universe just keeps bringing us together. She is an amazing mum. She has that really positive, optimistic, go-getter attitude. She is just full of life. I really got along with her when we worked together. And I've always admired her go-getter attitude. She has a lot of tenacity and just gets the job done. And she has very, very respectful morals and values, which you guys will hear in the interview. So She does drop all of her social media platforms, so please make sure you reach out to her, give her a follow and support her business. And I really admired her as a parent who was doing everything she possibly could for her family and for herself. And I wanted you guys to hear the perspective of confidence and body confidence and self-worth and identity from a mother. I know a lot of my listeners are, young parents, and I can't give advice on self-love being a mum because I am not a mum yet. So highly recommend listening to this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to give her some love. Let's do it. Beautiful. Well, welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good, no worries. Well, what I really wanted to ask you today, or cover the topics of, is obviously motherhood, because you're a new mum, and just, I suppose, your self-love journey and your confidence journey and just your identity in that whole kind of area and what your experience has been. So I know a couple of the listeners I have on my podcast do range in our age group and are first-time mums. So I think they'll definitely appreciate some honesty and raw experiences from yourself. So
Brilliant.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's just so everyone knows, obviously you've started your own YouTube channel and you do quite a bit of mum videos and Q&As and things like that. So just first off, where can people find you on your platforms?
So I do have a YouTube channel, as you just said. It's under Alex Davidson, and it's just kind of a way that I can document what's going on in our family and capture memories for Sienna when she's a little bit older, and just our travels and things like that, because that was our goal, to go traveling when the world starts to heal a little bit. So we've got that channel ready for that. And I'm on Instagram as well under Alexandra Davidson, and that links onto our family channel as well.
Beautiful. I remember watching one of your first videos and you guys were so excited to do all your traveling, and then obviously COVID hit. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I'm excited for what you guys are going to do. Obviously taking Sienna along with you guys.
Yeah, so we were going to actually get a caravan or a van and do Australia, and then it stopped. So I think we'll probably still do that. We'll just have to plan it out a bit differently.
Yeah.
And then we're also like, well, maybe we'll wait a bit longer, so if we have any other kids, then they don't get left out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It all came at a good time. You can have more babies while you're at home quarantining.
Not too many. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do in your everyday routines at the moment and how you came to be a mum.
So I actually met you through working in fitness. I was a customer service manager, and I was also a personal trainer. I then moved on to a different company and became a club manager, but in a small boutique kind of facility, which specialized in a different type of training to the normal that you would see in big gyms. We then went over to Canada for 4 weeks, and over there decided we wanted to start a family a bit younger. Lots of people get married, and we understand, and that's a big thing for us, but we also wanted to have babies and go traveling. So we were weighing up what we could afford and what we wanted to do. We were both fully into it. So we said, okay, let's have babies first then. So we were like, cool, let's do this. And then maybe like 3 weeks later, it all happened.
What?
So it was kind of mind blown, because I was like, oh, it'll take 6 months. I'll get my head around it. Whereas my partner, he was like, no, I'm Kiwi, I've got this. and then it was within a few weeks, which was amazing. And then COVID hit. So I'd been at home through a lot of it. So I was still doing a little bit of help at a few gyms with their sales teams. And then I had Bobby and have been on maternity leave. And I've just gone back to work over the last week. And I now am a practice manager for a big maternity company. And I also work for a childcare centre and do a lot of social media and content creation for small businesses around Perth. Yeah.
Wow. So you are full on. You're still doing quite a bit. And because how old is Sienna?
She's 5 months. So I do part-time at the maternity team. And then around my own time, I've kind of started my own small business that's not really launched yet, but it's kind of in the back blocks at the moment. And I just work that around her. And it's actually the place that she stays at whilst I'm at work. So I'm really close with them. So I can work it in with what she's doing.
That's cool. So you obviously went back to work quite quickly. Was that always your plan? Like you're the type of person that needs to be doing something, or what was that decision around?
Well, I love being at home, but I am also a very career-driven person. I've always had interest, no matter what sort of role I had, I always put my all into it, and it just kind of gave me a bit of purpose in myself. And I feel like when I'm at home, sometimes I get a bit lazier, or I don't feel as in control of what's going on, and I kind of lose my way, as in like structure and making sure I put my health and everything first. So going back to work a few days a week was really good for my mental state. But it was really hard because I didn't realize how attached I would get so quickly. And the fact that you have to let go of being the person that's been with that baby since the second it was created is a lot. But she loves it. She's really social, doesn't really care what I'm doing. And then my mum and that get a lot of time alone with her. So that's really special as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you're obviously really lucky that she's a little social butterfly, just
Oh
like
my
you.
God, she doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, she doesn't
that's
care. She's like,
beautiful.
bye, mum. See ya. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm hanging out with my new friends. See you later.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for mums? Because obviously that's quite a challenge for new mums, especially when they have to leave and separate and go to work. Do you have any maybe advice for how to make that process easier on themselves and for bubs?
Well, for me, a big thing was leaving my baby with people I didn't know all of them. I didn't know all of their stories. In my situation, I was lucky because a very close family friend works in the company and in her area. So I knew going in that she would have a lot of care and a connection to me, but also um, letting her go with people you don't really know is quite scary. So my thing was starting it slow and using your family as much as you can if you have that chance. So my mum will look after her 1 day a week, which gives her time. And then I slowly weaned it in, started with shorter days and things like that. But I guess everyone's process is different. I think the biggest thing for me was mum guilt. Like everyone talks about feeling bad, and I don't feel bad because she's socializing. She's progressing a lot faster than some children her age because she's copying the bigger kids, and she's really happy. If she was screaming, maybe I'd be different. But because she's young, she's kind of learning to embrace other people and be confident. And that's what I really want. Having a little girl is for her to be confident. And it's only a couple of days a week, and then she gets that time with us more than she's away. So I just had to process it.
That's such an optimistic mindset. I'm glad that you said that. It kind of ties in with the whole message of confidence, and she's learning it at such a young age. And I suppose you're building that independence a little bit for her as well, because she's not so attached to you.
Yeah, I think for me, when I was not a mum and I was maybe not judgmental but naive, I didn't understand it, was a lot of kids you see and they're screaming and they're holding onto their mums and they don't want anyone else to talk to them. And I understand every kid's got a different temperament, but myself and my partner Hendrix are very like open to other people and confident. So we wanted to teach her that she can trust people within reason, I guess. So she can make calculated decisions, I guess, as she gets older.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really good values you're instilling there. So tell me a little bit about how your lifestyle has changed or how you transitioned into motherhood, because I know you spoke a little bit about it, but when I knew you before motherhood, you were obviously very active and very into your health and fitness and working all the time. So how are you still, have you held on to that same lifestyle, or how did you change it and make it work for your family?
So unfortunately, due to COVID, my pregnancy wasn't as fitness-based as I had hoped. So I kind of did walks and things like that, but not too much. And towards the end of my pregnancy, I had spine-to-spine positioning with Sienna, so my back struggled a lot. So I didn't really do as much, but I just tried to eat reasonably and move as much as I could. So that was fine. But coming into it, it wasn't so much the sleep, it was just mentally being drained personally, and then trying to help Hendrix transition. So I think a lot of it for women is different to men, and I never realized that. So as a girl, when you fall pregnant, your baby's your baby from that second onwards, and you're preparing for 10 months in your head, you're a parent. Whereas for the dads, they know that there's a baby. They don't know it, they don't feel it, they don't have the movement. So it takes them a while. Sometimes when they are born, the dads get hit really hard. So I think for us, it was like allowing Hendrix to be involved, allowing him to feed her, trying to help him cope because he was still working full time and he was tired too. So I think it was more us just being a team and redeveloping our dynamic as a pair, so that because we've always worked really well together and worked together in businesses, but redeveloping a family structure that wasn't as selfish, I guess. We had to be really, really selfless and come last was new, but we just teamed up and did our best, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you guys have done a massive communication and teamwork around how to do it together. And I've never actually heard anyone talk about the transition for dads. I've only just realized since you said it that you're right. It's kind of 9 or 10 months into it where they have to play that role and that part. So thank you for touching on that. That's really cool. No, it sounds like you guys have got your shit together. That's
sometimes,
good. Yeah. We can touch on the challenges, but it's all light and fluffy at the start. Beautiful. So I want to know, and obviously as much as you're confident and comfortable talking about, but how has your personal confidence changed mentally and physically, I suppose, through giving birth and then just being a mom and body changes and body images and things like that? How's that journey been for you?
So on a physical basis, I have had a bit of trouble over the last 5 years or so. As you would know, but others might not, I had major injuries and then had hormone problems and then had a lot of trouble just getting really lean and fit like I was comfortable being. And then I had baby and I actually lost a heap of weight at the start of the pregnancy and did really well after. And I was fine up until I stopped breastfeeding, and then I put a lot of weight on. A lot of it was around my stomach, which is quite confronting, especially when you're still in your 20s. But I think for me, I just have tried to maybe not ignore it, but see it as an opportunity to kind of redevelop everything. And because your weakness is there and all of that, you kind of don't see it, I guess, as bad as you would imagine, because you saw yourself get big, you saw yourself get small. It's just keeping, I guess, consistent and having people that are supportive and aren't judgmental, and just not putting yourself in positions where you're going to feel bad. But for me personally, I did feel a bit off about my changes, but I also am like, I can't do anything about it, and I had a baby, so oh well.
Cut yourself some slack. Yeah,
and mentally I did all right. I actually was really surprised that I was calm. I'm a highly strung person at times, especially in work, and I go all out and everything's going to be the best. But with baby, I actually was very calm and just kind of tried my best to just learn. Like, I have no control of what she's going to do. If I can just keep her safe and healthy, then that's a win.
Yeah, beautiful. Were you quite concerned, because I'm very similar to you, I think that's why we got on so well at our previous workplace, but were you concerned at all, knowing your personality traits and your tendencies to be really high strung, how that would not affect you, but how that would dominate in motherhood? Were you actually quite surprised that you were quite a calm mother, or even in pregnancy?
I always knew with baby I would be okay. I was really worried about being a partner. I know that I like things done a certain way. I know that I get very protective over my people, especially a baby. And I know that sometimes I can be a little bit bossy, whereas Hendrix is a very laid back, gentle kind of guy, and he doesn't really see things the same way as I do in some situations. So I think my biggest concern was, one, not being able to give him the love he's used to and not wanting him to feel like left out, and also being bossy. I didn't want to be bossy and intense. So I tried really hard. Sometimes I failed and I was a bit of a crank, and he was like, mate, like, calm down a little bit. But other than that, yeah, no, it was just the transition from sharing myself between me and one person to me and two people. But over time, you slowly, and they adapt as well. So they start to understand exactly what goes into being a mum, and then they can kind of adapt with you.
Beautiful. And I know, obviously, based off of what you've been speaking about already, obviously values that you're trying to instill to Sienna and the behaviors that both of you are exhibiting in front of her, that's obviously, I'm assuming, a driving force for you to be the best version of yourselves as well, like individually and in a relationship. Just for her.
I really want it to be like mum and dad are very close and they team up. They're not always the same and they sometimes disagree, and that's normal, but they respect each other as individuals. I wanted to see that a lot, and we've been like that, but we just got to be mindful if things start to get a bit stressful, which they do, because you're adding a big dynamic change in there. And for me, it was always, I don't want her to worry so much about the external. Unfortunately, working in fitness, you start to become quite attached to what you look like and what everyone thinks, and if you have abs and if you have this and that, and people sometimes say things that they have no right to say to others. Everyone's different, and I think just wanting her to not see me worried about my weight and if I'm not pretty enough or not this and that. So just trying to be like very mindful of the words that I use and how I speak of myself and others in front of her. So then it's not really something that she thinks of, because as a kid I lived on a farm and things like that, and it wasn't something I even thought about until I went to university at Sunshine Coast, where it was a very beautiful girls everywhere fitness beach sort of place. And then I started to see more, whereas as a kid I don't think I've ever been like, I'm not skinny enough, because I was riding horses and did my own thing. So I think I would just like her to be a kid and not think about that stuff, because I feel like at the moment there's so much stuff that just is damaging young kids and teenagers and making them sad, and I just don't want her to be sad, I guess.
I think you're doing such an amazing job, obviously putting her first, and it sounds like you've really thought about how you guys want to raise her, and like I said, the values and behaviors you want to instill in her. So that's really good to hear. You're doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
You're doing great, sweetie. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm really proud of you. That's awesome. Have you experienced any personal challenges or tough times in motherhood so far?
Mine is patience. I can sometimes get quite frustrated if people don't see things the way I see them, because I'm very logical and specific, and I think of things from a lot of different perspectives than other people's, and that's something that's good in some ways, but also can be hard with everyone being so different. So I think like common sense isn't common sense for everyone. So things like that for me. Getting frustrated sometimes because babies yell at you, and they sometimes just yell. And I'm like, I don't know what you want. Sometimes there just isn't an answer. So I think just going with it a bit more, being a little less structured, I guess, coming from business and things like that. There's a procedure and there's a purpose and there's a reason for everything. And sometimes with kids, there's no reason. And I never realized that until I was like, why are you yelling at me? And she's like, I just feel like it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Just take it personally. Like, I thought it was your friend. What's going on?
Like sometimes she doesn't want to hug me. She just crawls past me to her dad. And I'm like, mate, I gave you life and I feed you and I love you and you don't even have an interest.
I'm cutting the relationship off here. This is ridiculous.
No, we're done.
You just spoke for like 20 minutes about how beautiful your connection was, and she's like, no, I'm done with you, Mum. I'm all good. That's beautiful. Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like like you said, as long as you guys have that support system with each other, then whatever kind of happens, and you just deal with it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super important as well, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you and Hendrix are on the same page in terms of values, where you want her life to end up, where you guys want your life to end up as a family, and just making sure that open communication is there always to make sure you're both on the right path.
Yeah, so we both have very, very similar values, and we both want the same things in life. We're just very different people. So we see things differently. We come from very different cultures and backgrounds and family structures and stuff. So for us, our whole relationship's been about give and take with each other. Some things that I focus on, he is like, that's silly, but he still accepts and respects it. And same for me. So I think for us, this is a whole other game, and it takes, as lots of people say, and I never believed it, it takes a village to raise kids. I think you need a lot of different people for a lot of different development areas and things for the babies. So I think us both bringing our sides and creating a path that's on point with each other for her is a good thing. So we focus a lot on that, and also just like learning from our parents and stuff. Both very different parenting styles, different cultures, as I said, different countries, but we kind of brought it together and tried to find our own way.
Yeah, beautiful. I learn a lot in my courses and stuff that I do, that the ages from 0 to 7 are the most important for a child. That's when they're modeling the world around them and what's going on. So I think it's beautiful, I suppose, that you take into account how you guys were both raised differently. And I'm assuming she's going to embrace both cultures on both sides of the parents.
Yeah, we really want to get her to New Zealand. It's been really sad that she hasn't been able to meet her grandparents and like aunties and uncles and stuff over there, but we are trying to push for that as soon as it's safe. But yeah, I would really like for her to understand where she comes from, because Australian culture and Māori culture are so different, and and I find it so fascinating, like the Polynesian side of things and how New Zealand is and the structure their families are, like the hierarchy and things like that. And I think it's really cool that she's two parts of us and there's two kind of places coming together. and she can learn so much from different things. So I think it's really cool, and I would like her to have as much involvement over there as she does here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And obviously didn't realize she hasn't even met her grandparents yet. That's really sad.
No, she Skypes with Hendrix's parents and stuff, but she's never got to meet them, and it's their first grandchild, so it's really heartbreaking, but we do our best to keep in contact a lot through Zoom and things like that.
Yeah, that's really good. That's beautiful. It'll make it all the more special when she finally goes over.
I think I'm getting even more attached to them as well. I'm like, I want to meet you guys soon.
Yeah, that's so sad, babe. Well, I suppose because I was talking about it on one of my previous episodes. I think we were doing really, really well, and I think they were actually going to open borders to New Zealand, but probably not anymore.
Yeah, I think
with all the stuff that's just gone on.
But the thing is, Hendrix's step siblings are still in high school. So his mum can come here, but if she goes back, it's hard for her to go into quarantine for that amount of time because she's got young high school children to still look after, and it's not fair on them. So we're trying to find a way, I think, for us to go there so that's a bit safer because we can kind of work it in because it's just the three of us, whereas over there, there's more people to worry about.
Yeah, that's true. It's so tough, I think, especially because I know this was obviously your first child. What was it like being pregnant in like during COVID and in lockdown and things like, well, not lockdown, but quarantining and things like that?
I quietly think that as devastating as it is and scary as it is and how it's annoying because we all want to travel and have fun and just kind of progress as people, we feel like we're losing time. I feel like for me, it was forced me to stay quiet and calm and not try and overdo it because I sometimes do that, and I think it kind of helped me create as a quieter environment and mindset for myself throughout. And it was a bit concerning bringing her into the world because it was around that time that I didn't know if Hendrix could be with me, which is mortifying. But yeah, it all kind of panned out fine, and I think that having that time was really good for us to kind of figure out what we were going to do as a pair, develop as a couple, and also me to chill out of it and not be so highly strung because I think coming off work straight into that and being that big and that hectic would have just been a lot for any mum.
Blessing in disguise. Hey, you're so optimistic. I love it. Yeah, you're very glass half full. I love it. Do you have any advice for expecting mums, I suppose, around how to keep their mental health well and confidence just around being a mom or body image or whatever it is? Do you have any advice from your own experience?
My biggest thing for being a mum would be like, everyone's going to give you advice and everyone's going to want to help, but you just take what you want to take and realize that it's your baby and it's your path, and trust in yourself that you're a good person and that you can do the best you can do. Everyone sees things differently and everyone wants different things, and sometimes they push that on you, so just kind of be very cautious of your energy and keep yourself, like, keep it close, keep it very strong communication between you and your partner. Body image would be, understand you grew a human, you birthed a human, you feed a human, and you don't sleep. So sometimes it is going to be hard and you're not going to look like you did when you were 20, but you can get it back. Science says you can get it back. Trust science.
I'm holding on to that hope. Come on, science, don't let me down.
Yeah, just look after yourself and don't feel guilty if you need 10 minutes, and your partner and your family should understand, and that's fine. You have every right to just be your own person, because if you just become a mum and that's all you do, then you burn out and you're not a happy person. So you make sure you just stay your own person who's a mum.
Beautiful. So your motherhood is not your only identity, it's just a part of you.
It's the most important job of your life, but you have to look after yourself, otherwise you're no good to anyone. Yeah.
That's true. That's kind of similar when I talk about the workplace. Like if you're stressed and having mental breakdowns, you can't be the leader that you need to be in the workplace. And I'm assuming it's the same as motherhood. If you're not looking after yourself, you can't be what you need to be as a mother for your child.
Yeah, and like as you would have in a job, to be a leader, you don't have to do everything. You just have to be able to delegate and ask for help and kind of say, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. Can you please do it? And the same thing goes, if you try and be mum, look after the house, look after yourself, look after your partner, look after everyone else, you're going to burn out. So if you think like that, you're able to ask for help and give guidance to your partners who really want to help. They really want to help. They just have no idea. So just you control the ship and ask for help, delegate.
Oh, bless. They're just sitting there ready and willing, but they're like, I'm so lost. What do I do here?
Yeah, just hand of a small human and they go, cool.
What is this? What do I do with it? It's crying. Take it. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that little metaphor with work. I think a lot of people will relate to that. So that's really cool. Beautiful, babe. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's great. Thank you for having me. And hopefully that helped a little bit if anyone else is feeling a bit nervous.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what I'll do for everyone, I will attach all of your social media links to the description of the podcast episode, and when I post it in our little podcast Facebook group, it'll have all your links as well. So if anyone's listening and they want direct advice, I'll probably ask you first. Do you mind if they DM you or reach out or anything?
No, that's fine. Like I said, I'm a new mom, so I may not know everything, but I'll help as much as I can. You're very welcome to reach out if you want a friend or someone to chat with.
Yeah, beautiful. And definitely check out all of her videos on YouTube as well. And hopefully when it's time to travel, you'll see their little family caravan travel trip.
Definitely.
Something to look forward to. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for your time, babe, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.